No dogs allowed in Memorial Park. However, inside the museum, there's a temporary exhibit that honors the military working dog. Hey everyone, it's Cashew. Today's adventure brings us to Dayton, Ohio, to the National Museum of the United States Air Force. There's a great temporary exhibit called Canine Warriors, Courage and Sacrifice, Always Behind You. And artist James Mellick, who works in wood primarily, has created wonderful sculptures honoring wounded military working dogs. I've seen photos of it on the museum's website, and I just had to bring you here. So let's go take a look. Our adventure starts here. The military working dog fills a special role in the protection of military troops. Dogs have been present in U.S. military since the Revolutionary War. However, it was not until World War II that the military developed a large standardized dog handler program. At that time, the U.S. Army created training techniques and established schools for handlers. The 341st Training Squadron's puppy program fulfills a third of the Department of Defense's working dog requirements. These dogs are exposed to the same harsh environments and battlefield dangers as their handlers, increasing their risk of disease, injury, and death. Their diligence is rewarded with praise from their handlers, the joy of a chew toy, and the security of our military. At the end of their careers, most of them are offered to civilian law enforcement agencies or are available for adoption, with handlers having first priority. More than 90% of former military dogs are adopted by their handlers. In the United Kingdom, there's a charity called Animal Aid, and in 2006, they made the purple poppy a symbol of remembrance for animals who served during wartime. Historically, it was horses and ponies, but lately, it's been the military working dog that has lost their life. This is the poster for the exhibit, and this whole wall has paintings focusing on the military working dog, and I'll show you a few of them. This is Nora the Wonder Dog. This one's called Canine Training Number 1. This is a very nice painting called On Guard. It's very realistic. This is a print called Patrol Dog and His Handler, a sentry dog during a retraining exercise. This is a great painting of Master Sergeant William Gaskins with his dog Jumpy. This painting looks like it was done with watercolor. This is my favorite painting in the whole exhibit. It's called simply War Dog. These next couple of paintings look like watercolors as well. This is a beautiful drawing. Wait till you see the sculptures. They're unbelievable. This is called Wounded Warrior Dog 5. It's laminated, carved, bleached, and burnt cedar. The tongue is made out of cherry, and the teeth are made out of maple. This represents dogs that were wounded in Vietnam. The long scar on the dog's hip represents surgery for hip dysplasia, which is a problem common to the breed. This is a very realistic depiction of the hair being shaved away and then the sutures. I don't know if my camera's picking it up, but there's some really great wood grain in these sculptures. Look at the intricate detail. So the artist took maple and made the teeth individually. I'm not sure if you can tell or not, but the tongue is made with cherry wood. This flag-draped casket represents the military working dog who did not survive. This is a Doberman Pinscher who wears the service ribbon of the Asian Pacific Campaign of World War II. If you'll notice, he's not wearing a prosthetic leg. The dove on his back is a symbol of blessing, mercy, and spiritual transformation. This Malinois wears the service ribbon of Afghanistan. It's a double amputee and is wearing a sling wheelchair. I really like the spalted wood he used. Note the teardrop in the dog's eye. This is a very powerful and emotional sculpture, and there's a lot to tell about it, so I'm going to try to get a good shot of the label that accompanies this sculpture, and you can freeze frame it and read it for yourself. This piece, which includes two dogs, is called Over the Rainbow Bridge. It depicts Luca on the left, who's a Labrador Retriever, and Cooper on the right, who's a German Shepherd Belgian Malinois mix. And the dove represents those dogs and handlers who did not make it home. If you notice, Cooper is an amputee, and his service medal was made with a 3D printer. This is another powerful sculpture. This is Jojo, the German Shepherd, and it shows an incident when he and his handler were injured when they were detecting explosives. Note the target on Jojo. That shows how the dogs were often targeted by terrorists. The metal on the side of Jojo represents the shrapnel he and his handler were hit with when they were attacked. On a happy note, Jojo and his handler both survived. This harlequin-colored Doberman represents veterans of all wars who've experienced PTSD. The doves on the dog's back represents the standoff of light and dark spirits that come with good and bad memories. I know the exhibit's a little dark, so hopefully you can see this. This is called Wounded Warrior Dog 1. This Belgian Malinois represents veterans who returned home from Iraq with many injuries. The all too common injuries represented here include traumatic brain injury and the loss of a limb and an eye from IEDs. This is another powerful sculpture. They're all powerful, but this one especially. This German Shepherd represents the 4,000 dogs that were left behind in Vietnam after the war. Lastly, this is a chocolate lab named Scylla. Scylla was a dog who detected explosives, and though she was never injured, this dog represents those injured in Iraq. On the other side of Scylla, the artist depicts wounds that can be suffered from IEDs, and I'll show you that in just a second. This is an incredibly powerful, moving exhibit. And before we leave the museum, I want to show you a couple of other exhibits that depict the military working dog. In the Vietnam section of the museum, they have a little exhibit here that shows dogs being used during the war. This is a very moving story about a sentry dog named Nemo during the Vietnam War, and how he stayed by his handler's side even though he himself was wounded, and he wound up losing an eye. This is a picture of Nemo with his handler Robert Thunberg, and he was still in the hospital when he was able to see Nemo for the first time after the attack. Even though it's a relatively small exhibit, it's nice to see that they show how dogs play a role in the Air Force. This is an Air Force dog handler armed with a GAU-5A, which is a shortened version of the M16. These are photos of Vittles. He was a boxer that flew 131 missions with his owner, First Lieutenant Russ Steber, during the Berlin airlift. Vittles accumulated around 2,000 flying hours, but he never had to use the parachute that was specially built for him, and I'll show you that in just a minute. Lieutenant Steber, however, had to bail out over the Soviet zone on one occasion, but Vittles was not with him, and Lieutenant Steber was captured and returned to the West a few days later. I'm not sure if you can tell from the glare or not, but this is a model of Vittles, and this is the actual parachute he wore. You know, the other day somebody asked me if I had a favorite vlog, and I really don't, but I think this one's going to be in my top 3. It was very moving. I can't imagine anybody walking away from that and not feel something. If you like this video, give it a thumbs up. Be sure to like, subscribe, and ring the notification bell. And if you already subscribed, please encourage others to do so as well, and join me on my journeys. In the description box down below, I have links to my Patreon and my PayPal if you want to help me take my adventures further. And I also have a link to my Teespring if you want a t-shirt. So until next time, everyone, this is Cashew signing off. I was going to do my outro over there, but there's a skunk, so I think I'll pick someplace else.